We'll begin with a song as we prepare to welcome Shabbat together. This sound of Elul, the month of preparation for the high holidays. As we near that milestone, we prepare our hearts with this special melody. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said that prayer cannot bring water to a parched field, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. We come together in prayer, not because of the supernatural, but because of the practical. We come together in prayer because we have yearnings, we have hopes, we have pain, we have needs, we have the urge to be together. And we have a dedicated community of people who love to be together, especially at such a humid evening as this. So we're grateful to gather together. We have a special ritual as part of our service this evening. We were definitely on the fence. Will we, won't we? Is it going to rain? Is it not going to rain? At this point, our fingers are crossed. If it does rain, then we can very quickly and easily head right behind us here into the small chapel to continue our service. But in the meanwhile, we'll remain out of doors. And later in the service, we'll have the chance also to change the Torah cover to its high holiday white as we symbolically prepare to transition into that time of year. And in order to enter into that space, we welcome all of you, and we welcome all of you who are on Zoom. Hi, everybody. We know you're part of the service too, and we're glad that you're here and maybe a little more comfortable in your air conditioning or screened-in porches. We hope that you'll join us in the lighting of the candles. The blessing can be found on page 120. As we bring this light into our community, we participate in this tradition that goes back thousands of years.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We enter into Kabbalat Shabbat, or receiving Shabbat, welcoming Shabbat into our midst with song, beginning on page 132 with Or Zarua. Remember this special melody that we've been learning over the past few weeks? It's coming back, and I just realized I don't have the drum today. Sorry, Cantor. It's okay, we can use this.
Or zaru ala tzadik, zaru ala tzadik.
Or zaru ala tzadik, zaru ala tzadik. Page 132.
Or zaru ala tzadik, zaru ala tzadik.
Or zaru ala tzadik, zaru ala tzadik.
Uleishrei lev simcha. Uleishrei lev simcha. Uleishrei lev simcha. Uleishrei lev simcha. Or zarua. Or zaru ala tzadik, zaru ala tzadik. 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 Uleishrei lev simcha. Uleishrei lev simcha.
Lecha Dodi, page 138, the moment of reaching out to, we hope, find God reaching back for us. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 together, and toward the end, we will rise and face behind us as we symbolically welcome Shabbat coming into our midst. These are the numbers in the brackets in these skinny prayer books. Page 138.
Likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, yishmi'anu el ha'meichad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, v'shem el tiferet v'litfilah, all together lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu b'nelcha, ki hi mekor ha'beracha, merosh v'kerem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Verse 5.
Likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please rise.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha u'sola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, la 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 la, lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please have a seat. Continue on page 140. Tzadik katamar yifrach. The righteous, like a date palm, shall bloom, shall branch out, shall share their generosity with others and be role models for us all. That's a paraphrase of this beautiful psalm You can see it begins in the indented paragraph toward the middle of the page 140, 140. Page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashavim, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Seitzchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon.
We can take a deep cleansing breath. Feel a little distance between the week that we've just concluded and the week yet to be. Bridging the two is Shabbat, a time out of time, a time of betweenness, a time of creation that is specifically away from all other creation. And so we feel that holiness, and I hope make the transition into this holy day. We can please rise if it's comfortable to do so for Chatzi Kaddish and Baruch Hu, page 144.
Yirkadal v'yirkara shemei rabba.
Amen.
Ve'alma tivrach chutei v'yamlich malchutei. Bechayechon v'yom echon u'chayerecho beit Yisrael. Bagala bagala uvizman kariv ve'meru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'olam u'yom me'almaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalol shemei d'kudsho brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Ushpechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'meru. Amen.
Page 146.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed.
148, or changes from day to night. We read together, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, B'chokhmah poteach she'arim, Uvitvuna mishane itim, Machalif et hazmanim, Umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem, Barakia kirtsono, Borei yom v'layla, Kolel or mipnei choshech, V'choshech mipnei or.
Ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mavdil ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai tzivahot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim l'chaleinu le'olam vaed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Amen. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Together, Baruch Atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema.
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 Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed.
Please have a seat. We continue on page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shiftecha bebeitecha, u'lechtecha b'derech, u'shokbecha u'bekumecha, u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
Our freedom song, Michamocha, tells us to continue to work for the day where the nations will be one and at peace. I know especially in these weeks, it does not feel like that day is near. But we keep maintaining the hope, we keep putting in the work that one day we might rejoice as Israel did on the shores of the sea, together with Moses and Miriam singing, page 158, this song.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehi
Moshe Miriam, Ze'elianu ve'ameru, Ze'elianu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. We can put our hands together like this. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. On page 161, we pray, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Let there be love.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkiveinu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu,
And understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, God, who spreads a shelter of peace over us and your people Israel and over Jerusalem. Page 164, please rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula livnei bneihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue in words of silent prayer between this page and page 180. There might be something that catches your attention or speaks to you, whatever need you might have in this moment, or perhaps it's time for you to just offer your own silent and extemporaneous prayer. In either case, please take the time you need. We'll have a few moments of silence, and feel free to have a seat only when you're ready to do so. We'll join together after that on page 180.
Shalom bimrama, Oyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We pause for a moment to recognize anyone in our community who is in need of healing this evening, beginning with those made known to our congregational family, our members April D'Amato, Norma Diamond, Henry Gettenberg, Carol Gordon, Sandra Hyman, Tom Louie, and Josh Lipschitz. And our loved ones, Shai Tovia, Connie Ambrosino, Harriet Cohn-Haggerty, Mickey Bart, Jay Fliss, Sue Yaris, Sydney Scher, Bart Young, Sarah Bryant, Helen Dreyfus, Jennifer Murphy, Jane Schwab, Marion Macon, Ben Peck, Mark Potter, Martha Potter, Sandy Spector, Celeste Hawks, Georgia Jennings, Sabine Meyer, Gloria Newell, David Charr, Amelia Sidney, Joan Sidney, Josephine Sidney, Gail and Sam Feidelberg, Deborah Poulin, Devorah Shulamit, Betsy Powers Ross, and Maris Dorsey. If there are others who we'd like to make known at this time, I'll come around and you can share their name aloud. And for those on Zoom, you can feel free to put their name in the chat and I will make note of them as well. Who are we praying for tonight? Haida Muller-Hatton, Danny Romo, and the Panaski family. We take note of all of them as well. We continue in prayer for those who we love and who are in need of wholeness and healing, of courage and strength. We pray, God, let those be theirs, at least in part, at least for a time. Page 371.
Mi shebera avoteinu mekor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebera imoteinu mekor habracha leavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
When I was a child, I learned that there was a very important leader in ancient Judaism called the Kohen Gadol, or the high priest. And he was important because, at least the way I learned it, because he was the only one who could go not only into the temple and into its innermost chamber, but even the Holy of Holies, the most sacred part of its innermost chamber, where he only went once a year, every Yom Kippur. And he would get dressed up in white linen. He would bring some sacrifices. And he was also a secret codesmith because he was the only one who knew how to pronounce God's name. None of us could do that. And so he would go and say this very esoteric powerful prayer, offer some sacrifices. And so concerned about his welfare were the rabbis that they said that there was even a tradition of tying a rope around his waist so that if he should go into the Holy of Holies and unfortunately perish, they could drag him out because nobody else could go in after him. Now, this all felt a little far removed from my experience as a child and a little bit different than the way that I saw my rabbi and cantor in their high holiday outfits on the bima. And that is because in the time since then, the imagery of the high priest has shifted in Judaism to other more egalitarian symbols. Some of you might know that priestly family roles continue as a tradition in Orthodox and conservative Jewish communities. And you've seen prayer leaders like Cantor and myself recite the priestly benediction on many occasions as well. And there are even a few services that are named after the sacrifices, many of which the Reform movement has left out of our Siddur, because we do not necessarily think that the sacrifices are so compelling and meaningful as a connection point anymore. But in the rabbi's imagination, when the temple no longer stood, there needed to be some replacement for the sacrificial system, and that replacement was the sacrifice of the heart, the words of the heart. In other words, prayer. And of course, there's the Torah, which you can't see, or maybe some of you can, but we have right here hiding behind this bush tonight. And the Torah itself, we dress in priestly garments. When we're used to seeing it on a week-to-week basis, we notice that it wears jewelry, it wears a breastplate or a choshen, and some of its garb sort of recalls the way that the high priest was dressed as well. We have the tradition of putting it in high priest white at the high holidays, of changing over, as we'll do in just a few minutes. Now, one of the most egalitarian, one of the most shocking ideas about this ancient priestly role that we've taken in so many new ways in more modern Judaism is the idea of the Lamed Vavnik. Did anybody ever grow up hearing stories about Lamed Vavniks? Maybe from your grandparents? No? Yes, rabbis don't count in this particular question, but yes, I'm glad you have heard. There's this idea that not only can we be priests, but there are holy ones hidden among us, following the idea from the book of Exodus that we are a kingdom of priests. So what exactly is a Lamed Vavnik? Well, there's a text in the Talmud that says as follows. Can't even read it because of the sweat in my eyes. La pached alma mitaltin v'shita tzidkei demekable ape shchina b'chol yom. The world has no fewer than 36 righteous people, doesn't specify men or women, righteous individuals who greet the divine presence every day. That's from Tractate Sukkah in the Babylonian Talmud. Now, that might sound very highfalutin to us, but I promise you, to greet the divine presence, mekabel penei shchina, to greet the divine presence is a really big deal. Not even Moses had that opportunity in the Torah. Remember that scene where God comes to Moses and says, I do not let anybody see my face. You can only see what is behind me. This very elliptical and mysterious statement. But here comes the Talmud to suggest there are 36 people like this in the world who are privileged to have this personal face-to-face connection with God. Now, why 36? What do you think? Why 36? Double chai, twice the number of 18. And there's also a Hebrew wordplay at work here, because the word lo, which means his or to him, has the Hebraic gematria equivalent. Somebody this week was telling me they like rabbinic wordplay. So whoever was, hope you're listening to this, that 36 is actually the number of the word lo, which is connected in the rabbinic exegesis to a verse from the prophet Isaiah. Anyway, it's not that interesting, but it is a meaningful connection to people who find gematria interesting. And I've clearly outed myself as not one of those people. But if that's your thing, that's wonderful too. So these 36 people, they become very mysterious in the Hasidic tradition, especially because Hasidic Judaism, which is this 18th century pietistic movement that looked to really re-energize and rebirth Judaism as a very spiritually alive tradition, they were looking for the holy person and the secret mystic everywhere. You know, the figure who's just sort of in shambles begging on the street could be the Messiah. That sort of idea, which is present in Judaism, becomes very popular in Hasidism. And so this idea that there are 36 people that we might not know are these righteous people that might help bring redemption becomes very, very popular and enters the Jewish imagination. 36 people. And one of the things in Hasidic lore about these 36, the Lamed Vavniks, is that you might be a Lamed Vavnik and not even know it. That there are mysterious figures who don't even get told that they're going to be Lamed Vavniks. And this is perhaps one of the most intriguing and also confusing things of all. Professor Sarah Ronis, who writes a commentary on the Daf Yomi, on the daily Talmud page of which this is part, asks the question, how would it change things for us to see ourselves with this potential? Not only to think about what it would be like to greet another person as though they were at a Lamed Vavnik, but how would it change things if you were a Lamed Vavnik or you were a Lamed Vavnik? Or, I mean, I didn't count all of you, but perhaps you all could be Lamed Vavniks. I don't know. There are enough of you, right? It's possible. We just don't know. So I think this is what we have to come together and think about when we play a role, getting ready for the high holidays, looking to slichot, getting ready to change over the Torah cover, is that egalitarianism, that role of we can all be priests, we can all participate in the service now. We can all maybe even be Lamed Vavniks. I love that idea, not because I'm trying to put a lot of pressure on you, but because there's this great potential. It's kind of the antidote to all of the heart beating and chest thumping and confessing that we're about to do in the next several weeks. Sure, we have a lot to work on and a lot to do right, but we also have a lot of potential. The work of the high holidays is just not easy. Teshuvah is not an easy thing to do. Searching ourselves, searching our deeds, apologizing, trying to make things right to people we love. This is what my colleague, Rabbi Lizzie Heidemann, refers to as a spiritual core workout. Who likes to do core exercises? Well, maybe some of you do. I know there are some fitness nuts out there. That's okay. I respect that. Okay. But most of us do not live for planks. But the spiritual core exercise of teshuvah is the plank that we all have to do. And so this idea of the Lamed Vavnik is the one that I want to leave you with when your core is burning, when the spiritual energy feels like it's just draining you and making it a little hard for you to speak kindly to yourself. Remember that you might be a Lamed Vavnik, or that if you're not a Lamed Vavnik, then somebody that you didn't realize was a Lamed Vavnik might be. All of us ready to play our tiny role in redemption. So soon we'll gather to change a Torah cover to the symbolic white, as I mentioned before. And I'm going to ask that we're going to please actually make a circle to your left, my right, in front of that bush right there. Hopefully there's some level ground and we can make a circle together. And I'm glad that the weather cooperated. We can do that together. And I hope that we'll all take a second as we see each other around the circle to just wonder what it would be like if some among us or all among us were a Lamed Vavnik, ready to play our role in the redemption of the world. I'll invite Rabbi Bogan, please come up here now. Everybody else, please stand up. You can leave your prayer book where it is. We don't need them right now. And let's try to make one big circle just behind where you all are and to your left, my right. Thank you, Rabbi. Yeah, almost. There's another part. Let's see how good we are making this. Watch this step. This is a ritual that we can all participate in, and that as the Jewish community of TBT, we all have a role in doing. Under normal circumstances, we would have several Torah scrolls, and we would invite everybody up to participate and help change the cover. Because of COVID and because of the year that we're having, I feel lucky that we can even be out here. And I feel very lucky that that we have, thank you, Rabbi Susan Moss, and thank you to Rabbi Sandy Bogan, who is a member of our congregation, but we don't always get to see her because she also has a job. So luckily she's with us tonight. Thank you for being with us, Rabbi. And Cantor, would you get us started by a little bit of a nigun?
Sure.
The elders. We rise now to honor them. Our elders from whom we have learned stories and lessons, from whom we have studied and worshipped and celebrated the passages of life and time. Our elders who have taught us goodness, honesty, and the sanctity of life, whose mantles are woven with threads of memory embroidered with silver and gold, majestic folds of silk and velvet, and royal hues befitting their rank, as brilliant as the sun. We stand now to honor them, or at least one of them, as they put aside these everyday mantles of splendor and don their sacred garments, the vestments of purity and holiness, befitting the days of awe so soon approaching. Each in its turn is fitted with wimple, mantle, and crowns, each more stunning than the last, majestic folds of velvet and silk to clothe the holy words, a canvas of purest white, as brilliant as the moon. While we change this mantle, we'll sing that melody that Cantor was leading us in. And after I change it, I'm actually going to bring the Torah around to each of you so you can have just a moment in its presence. I'm going to ask that we not kiss the Torah right now, because I think that's probably the safest thing to do. But we can have a moment of presence and appreciation, because perhaps it's been many months since you've been able to be next to the Torah.
Mezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. Avi Adonai be'ad Moshe.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. The Torah of the Eternal is perfect, renewing the soul. The testimony of the Eternal is enduring, making the simple wise. The precepts of the Eternal are just, rejoicing the hearts. The instructions of the Eternal is lucid, giving light to the eyes. Ki lekach tov natati lachem, torati al ta'azovu. A precious teaching I have given you. My Torah, do not forsake it. Ordinarily, we would do this at Slichot. I'm very glad that we had the opportunity to do it out here together. We will still be having Slichot together, though. We hope to see you back here. We'll be in there tomorrow, Saturday night, and we'll have the chance to do some very light warm-ups if the high holidays are the core workout. And we'll have a taste of the beautiful liturgy and music of the high holidays at that time. Thank you all for taking part in this ritual. And we'll now move back to our seats, but we'll stand in our seats to conclude the service. Page 586. I think that is a large shofar. Yes, we were all thinking of it. Page 586 for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lated gerula liatzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam,
V'anachnu koreim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 591.
V'haya Adonai
Lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu bayom hahu
Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo 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 echad.
We invite now Gary Damiano and Tony Davis to please come up to greet us. We have 2 for the price of 1. Everybody else can have a seat.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Gary Damiano. I'm currently member at large at the TBT. I want a warm welcome to all the guests that are here tonight. And tomorrow, join us for Torah study at 9 a.m. Our Rabbi Morse will be leading it. The link is in your box. And I will introduce Tony.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom. I'm Tony Hahn Davis, and I currently serve on the board of directors as co-director of membership a warm welcome to all the guests who are here. We recently announced the dates and times for our high holiday services for 5782, starting with our Slichot service tomorrow night that Rabbi Moss just mentioned at 8:00 p.m. here at the First Congregational Church. Slichot is a brief but spiritually contemplative service designed to lead us into the high holiday season. We hope to see you there. The next Friday, September 3rd at 6 p.m., Shabbat services will once again be here on the green in front of the First Congregational Church in Madison. Please check your inbox regularly to remain up to date on all holiday services and activities. Again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you both. Shabbat shalom. We take a moment now to recognize and honor the memories of those we have loved and lost. I know there are people with us tonight who are in a period of mourning, and those of us who perhaps, especially as we approach the high holiday season, are recalling those in our lives who have brought so much meaning to our lives. I'll share first the names of those in the Shiva or Shloshim period, that's 70 or 30 days following a loss. And I invite you to please consider rising if I read your loved one's name and remain standing while we read everyone else's. In the 7 or 30 days following a loss, we think of Robert Merkin, brother of Judy Merkin-Strom, Joseph Flatley, member of TBT, husband of Karen Flatley, father of Sabrina Holton, Marjorie Sherry Weber, sister of Susan Burstein, and Kenneth Maurer, father of Sabrina Maurer. For those who passed away at this season in years gone by, Emily Capozzi, Lillian Barron, Merrill Roberts, Judge Leonard Garth, Ellen Johan, Irving Gleich, Thelma Buller, Lois Harrison, Dorothy Preminger, Betty Shambroom, Anna Goldstone, Esther Weiss, Lillian Criven, and Richard M. Stern. And once again, I'll come around, and if there's someone else you're saying Kaddish for tonight, please feel free to say their names, whether you're here with us in person or on Zoom. I invite us to rise together as one community and turn to page 598 for the words of the mourners Kaddish. Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach re'utei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'le'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who brings harmony into the heavens bring peace into the hearts of all who mourn. As together we say,
Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, amen.
please have a seat. well, we'll make Kiddush together. And those of you who are on Zoom, this is really your moment to shine because you can bring your own. I don't think they allow BYO on the green. So we'll all raise a cup on Zoom. Cantor will raise a cup here. Feel free to sing along.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Orei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu B'Shabbat kodsho Be'avav ratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh Bereshit Ki hu yom techilah lemikrei kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Ki banu v'charta Ve'otanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim V'Shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava u'b'ratzon Yinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Amen.
Lechaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lachem min haaretz Amen.
It's mostly not frozen. Don't forget there's music for Steve here. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So good to be together. So good to see familiar faces and some new faces. I don't even have to tell you to go say hi to somebody you don't know afterwards because I know you will, because this is that kind of place and how lovely that it is. And we're going to be seeing a lot more of each other, both in person and on Zoom in the next few weeks as the high holidays approach very, very quickly. And so as we get in that mood and prepare for Slichot and the Yamim Hanoraim, we will sing Achat Sha'alti, this beautiful Psalm 27, which I know is in here. Yes, on page 350. Wait, hold on. Okay, bracketed, blue bracketed numbers, page 662. 662 for Achat Sha'alti.
Achat Sha'alti me'et Adonai Ota Bakesh. Achat Sha'alti me'et Adonai Ota Bakesh. Shivti b'veit Adonai Kol yemei chayai Lachazot b'noam Adonai Ulevaker b'chalo Lachazot b'noam Adonai Ulevaker b'chalo.
Want to give me a call?
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.